Hello and welcome back to Tech Smarter. My name is Abby Ritchie. I am the tech guru at the Smarter service, and you can find me right here every Wednesday talking with people who are engaged in age tech innovation. We talk with operators, innovators, and investors that are shaping the aging culture. And I couldn't be happier to be back here. We had a couple of weeks off to celebrate the holiday, and we are back in full steam. And we have a guest today. I want to go ahead and bring on Melissa Bossert. And Melissa, before I introduce you to the audience and have you share your background, I want to thank Leading Age Arizona for sponsoring this episode. And Tech Smarter is a smarter service production, so we thank you for that as well. If you have any needs in regards to resident tech support and you're struggling in that area, the Smarter service is the place to call and to look into. And you can always find me right here on LinkedIn for more information. And now for our show, welcome to Tech Smarter, Melissa. I'm thrilled to have you here.
Well, thanks, Abby. I appreciate the invitation. It's exciting to be here. Watched all the broadcasts, and I'm really excited for our conversation today.
Wonderful. Thank you. For anyone that's new to you, could you please share with the audience what you do with Bridge?
Sure. I'm the National Director of Life Engagement for Bridge Senior Living. So I work with our team members that work in engagement for independent assisted living and then also in memory care.
Wonderful. And how long have you been involved in senior living?
So in August of last year, I celebrated my 30th year in senior living, and I've had a variety of roles. Started out in life engagement and did that for 17 years as our family was growing. And from there, went to be an executive director, then to a regional director of operations, did a short stint as a COO for a small local company to help out with some small group homes because I was interested in that field. And then a friend of mine works at Bridge, and he kind of reached out to me and said, "Hey, we've got this position and we think you'd be great for it. Love for you to come and talk to us about it." And that's kind of how I got to Bridge. And it's been amazing. It's been amazing. So to come back to work in life engagement where you started your career in senior living, to me, it just feels like coming home.
You must have seen so many shifts occur in innovation and technology and senior living in engagement. And when you look at the current landscape of senior living, what is one technological shift that finally feels like the future we've been waiting for?
So my optic for senior living is everything's always been about operations and clinical, right? We have all these great tools that we use for operations and for clinical. And finally, we're getting tools for life engagement, anything that has to do with resident lifestyle. And that is something that years ago you wouldn't even think of. And to have these wonderful platforms that are available to us to use to just enhance engagement in itself in regards to participant tracking and finding interests and just offering the entire world out there to our residents, to me, it's just been amazing to see all these engagement platforms come to life.
Yeah, I have experienced that as well. Being in senior living, the variety of engagement platforms that are driving innovation, they're driving connection. I've seen them develop so much. I got to tell you, having been in senior living now for about a measly 8 years. I do believe that during COVID, it was the time in which the engagement platforms really became so necessary, right? And
Yes.
and so many features have developed from there. When you're looking at an engagement platform and perhaps the one that you're using, what are some features that you are just thrilled about?
I love the fact that we can push out an announcement to people, like if you have a change in a room location or as a friendly reminder after that we're having a certain event going on or a certain speaker coming in, that you can do a push notification and it heads out to everybody. And what's exciting to me is when you're in a community and you see a life engagement director push out a notification, everyone picks up their phones and
Uh-huh.
they're all looking at their phones. It's kind of just, when you hear that emergency call go off, you hear all these dings go off and everyone's looking at their phone. And that's when you're like, oh, we've done a really good job of making sure that people are enrolled in these platforms.
That's awesome. One thing that I don't think a lot of people realize if they're not in senior living, the importance of receiving the mail is in notification, right?
Correct. Yes, absolutely. And doing it, tech based is so huge for us. And we just love the fact that we can push out those quote unquote gentle reminders in a way that people are using technology. And when you walk through communities, it's definitely a different landscape than what it was, years ago, where everyone's walking around with their smartphones or they're learning how to FaceTime, sending photos and taking videos of things. I absolutely love it when residents will send me videos of events and programs that they're participating in, and they'll be like, "We had the best time today," and it's through their lens, not
Mhm.
the lens of our team members. So you get a whole different perspective of things.
Now, on a totally different topic, I just want to say capturing those kind of videos are just precious, right?
Yes.
Content that brings so much breadth, like depth and life to a community. And I'm always encouraging, say, engagement that also occurs on social media. So
Yes.
just like capturing that and then pushing it out, it allows people to know what's happening
Mhm.
inside this community from the residents' perspective.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. We have conversations with our life engagement teams, and I tell people, I said, "Are you more apt to look at a 30-second to a minute video versus clicking on 12 different pictures on a social media platform?" And they're like, "The videos." And I'm like, "This is why we want to see more videos." So
Yeah.
it's great to me when we have those conversations.
Yeah, I always see these posts, and I'm happy to see them of engagement, enrichment directors posting like 10 photos from an event. And it's kind of commonplace, right?
Right.
And so anytime you could just take that event, give it more 3D and, more perspective from the residents, enjoyment, I think it just makes a huge difference. It's something that I'm passionate about and love to teach. I want to back up just a little bit
Sure.
to the engagement platform. Now, in our research, we have found that most communities are only leveraging about 10% of the
Mhm.
engagement platform features. Is there some way that you at Bridge Senior Living that you are educating residents and staff on using those features?
Yeah, we do. So, with the platform that we currently use, their dashboard is just amazing. And we make sure that not just using the content, but the communication piece of the platform is huge. Any senior living engagement platform, the content that they have in there, what we tell people is, we really want our life engagement directors to use technology as a tool in order to save them time. We have an expression within our team, we want to work smarter, not harder. And I'm like, if you use the content and the tools that are in here, we get to do what we love. And as engagement specialists, that's spending time with the residents, because that human touch is something that you cannot get rid of, at the end of the
100%.
day.
Yeah.
So, we really do push that. I want to say that we are probably at 80% or higher in using everything that we can for the platform that we currently use.
Well done. I'd love
Yes.
to know what that other 20% is another time. But
Yes.
when you are implementing new tools in one building and then you launch it across a national network, how do
Mhm.
you ensure that high-level national rollouts maintain the local feel and actually land well with residents and staff on the ground?
Well, I think at the end of the day, that's getting to know the community and where they're at. Like, we talk a lot about like what we do in Maine is not going to work in Texas, just like dining. If you think about what we eat in New England versus what you eat in Texas is two different menus. And I always look at it that way, is we go in and we get to know the residents and what they like and what their preferences are. And we base the training off of the region, not off as a global standpoint, because not every community, if you work in multi communities, not every community that you walk into is the same. So why do we treat a rollout that way? And that's what I absolutely love about it. You'll be able to go into a community, and with a rollout of something, you get very specific and you find out what residents like to do, and you give them that teaser of this rollout, and then they get more engaged. Because a lot of times, if people understand the why behind that you're doing it, they're more apt to be a part of it.
100%. Just we have found that at the Smarter Service that there are some communities, let's say in Southern California, that are more technically savvy than
Hmm.
other communities in other states, for
Yes,
instance. And so the nature of the content that we might be teaching in enrichment classes or the type of questions that we receive from residents really varies based on the region and how
correct.
technologically savvy they are or are growing to be.
Hmm. It is, and I think that the when you listen to the residents to find out what they want to learn, and then you also introduce them to things that they didn't think about that what they wanted to learn, it's very interesting. They'll come back and they'll tell us, I had a conversation with my son, my daughter, my grandchild, a neighbor about this new thing, and they couldn't believe I knew how to use it. And that's what I absolutely love hearing, that we've showed them something that they can use in life and that they can share with other people.
Amazing. So, one thing that we do at the Smarter Service is we have these tech concierge. It's like a genius bar at the community. And just the regular weekly presence of having the same person there in a public place where they're coming in and out, maybe the lobby or something like that. And they see this trusted tech concierge week after week after week. And we find that initially their questions on their portable devices are usually about, well, something's broken. Can you fix it? That's how it
Yes.
always starts that way. But then over time, we see that because the resident becomes more comfortable with their technology, that they start diving into how can I get this technology to help me, be a better artist, to help me listen to more podcasts. And, is this a scam or is this not a scam? But just having that fixture there of someone to answer the questions
Sure.
is huge.
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, we are very fortunate. We do a program called Tech Tuesday. So every Tuesday, we have a program that's related to technology. And it's not just how to use your smartphone or I can't get my tablet to turn on. It is definitely more than that. I think, again, if people understand the why, they're going to understand why we want to teach them new things. In these Tech Tuesday classes, like we highlight the benefits of using technology, how we celebrate their small wins, how we can make it social and fun. We had a community last year for Valentine's Day that did a pilot program, and it was called From Courting to Swiping.
Okay.
And we literally took them through how we used to court people to now how we swipe left and we swipe right. And we did this whole entire thing. And what I love about it is they did such a great job on this that they put this into a presentation that our other communities are rolling it out for the month of February as part of their one of their Tech Tuesday initiatives. And I think it's great because who is going to sit there and think that somebody in a community is going to want to learn about dating apps. And I absolutely love the fact that our residents are just wanting to get so involved to understand, like, we courted, but how come my grandchildren are going on an app to find a date? And what does that look like? So we love that.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember when I was teaching classes in the community and trying to popularize and actually just educate on, on dating and romance today and how different it is. And I just remember receiving so many questions at first, receiving a lot of
Mhm.
resistance from
Right.
an engagement in life. A lot of like, oh no, like we don't need that. But the
Yes.
fact is like it's education, it's relevancy, right? It's
Yes.
knowledge. And like when you have that, you can stay in conversation with your grandkids, with your family, just be knowledgeable overall if there are any romance scams that actually, our population is very, very vulnerable to.
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, I think that just even looking at that, I love the fact that we've taken AI tools and hooked up our laptops to these big screens, and we're like, we're going to create a story today about our community. And we'll populate all these fun ideas and then watch AI create a story. And we're like, oh no, change the ending to that. That is one of my favorite things to walk in, Abby, to see 45 minutes of a group of people sitting there really trying to share everything. I absolutely love that.
Neat. Me too. I love the idea of putting it on the big screen and getting them to rewrite a story. It's so helpful. Anytime that you can take something current like AI and then adapt it for their needs and not make it scary, then they start to really lean into it. For many residents, the first interaction with new technology can be intimidating. Can you share a story of a resident who went from being a tech skeptic to a tech champion?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is one of my favorite stories to share. We were on one of our engagement exchange calls that we hold weekly with our life engagement directors. And Nicole got on. She is one of our engagement directors in Tennessee. And she was sharing that a gentleman named Jack came up to her and he's like, "What is this ticky talkie tacky thing?" You know? And he's like, "I need to understand what this is because my grandkids were on it all weekend." So she pulled up her own personal TikTok and walked through it. And now he's an expert on TikTok and he's on it all day long. And he shares like the stories and people are like, "Oh, it's just silly stuff." He's like, "No, it's relevance too." So he's teaching everybody else that certain platforms aren't just for socialization, like what he's learning from it. And then he was sharing, which I love, he was sharing with a group of men about a gentleman who does little mini sessions for people who don't have dads, like how to change a tire and how to do this. And it was just amazing to me that you have somebody come in saying, "Tell me about this ticky tacky thing." And now he's an expert at it. And I love it.
I love that story. Yeah, these stories are the why behind everything that we do. Bringing the digital divide, closing that digital divide. Like, it isn't
Sure.
about wires, it isn't about the technology, it's about that aha moment when an older adult really realizes that, yes, their grandchild, yes, they can see their grandchild here, yes, they can connect with their grandchild, but how can they use this to help them, better function today? It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to ask you about some innovation in memory care. As a certified dementia practitioner, you see the world through different lens. How is
Right.
technology being used right now to spark cognitive joy?
So, in the platform that we use, the content that we have in there, you have to think about where our residents connect to and what time of the day it is. So, obviously, music is a big part of cognitive joy. And if you think about different genres of music during different time of day, art is another thing, believe it or not. The visual for the art can be done, which I think is absolutely amazing. We love the fact that we can get on Google Earth and we know that Mrs. Smith is from Cincinnati, Ohio. We knew where she grew up, and we can literally go down Main Street and you can kind of just see it come to light. So there's so much in technology that with working with residents that have memory challenges that you just see like their stress and their anxiety go down when they see something familiar on the big screen. And then if you're just sitting there holding their hand while all that's going on, you just really just watch their shoulders relax. And I just love how technology can help us out with all of those things.
I love that. Just to see an older adult just relax and also get so excited about seeing their hometown
Mhm.
again, whether, on the computer or on a big screen. It is a beautiful moment. I have interviewed Joe from Votavia. Do you know
Mhm.
about, yeah,
Yes.
Votavia? Yeah. And they show, for anyone who's not familiar with it, they show famous pictures, Marilyn Monroe,
Yep.
landing on the moon, famous pictures. And so an older adult remembers these. They have memories that,
Right.
there's like so many memories about these times in history. And it's such a powerful medium for engagement
Mhm.
and for sparking joy.
I agree with you on that. I mean, I think one of my favorite things that I've ever seen is we had a gentleman that was a national park ranger and we learned about it. So we pulled up on the screen where he used to work and his verbal skills improved so much as he started kind of telling us about Gettysburg and like all those long-term memories started coming back and you could just see the team members' faces like just seeing a different side of him and it was so warm and fuzzy and we were with him probably for 45 minutes where he shared everything about Gettysburg with us. It was so cool.
I love that. I want to shift a little bit and talk about how we can support the staff. Our
Mhm.
community staff, they are heroes, now, no
Yes.
doubt. And they're also stretched incredibly thin. In what way can technology act as a concierge for these teams?
So with technology, there's a lot of things that it can do. So at the end of the day, I just feel like technology should be able to give us that time back to spend with the residents, because to me, that's the key. You're in engagement for a reason. You're not there to sit behind a computer, sit in a desk. You took this job to be with people and to make their lives better. And I feel that the right tools actually streamline the processes. They can make routine tasks easier. They can also simplify documentation. Now with AI, there's a lot of platforms that you can use the microphone versus sitting there typing in 30 minutes of somebody's social history versus
Yeah.
doing an interview with them and having AI pull that all into it. And to me, that just gives our associates back time for that human connection. And that to me is the most important thing.
Yeah, this is also at the heart of our mission at the Smarter Service. So we really believe that your life enrichment team should focus on engagement, not troubleshooting Wi-Fi or
Yes.
passwords.
Yes.
And by stepping in as a tech concierge at a community, we are regularly offsetting the staff demands so that
Mhm.
they can get back to the high level human connection that they're so passionate about.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. It's just, to me, when we teach a life engagement director something, that's going to save them time so they can do what they love to do, which is to be with the residents that they serve. The look on their face is like, are you kidding me? And for those of us who have been in the industry a long time, we sit there and joke, we're like, where was this when we were doing this? So, we just feel that it's so fortunate at the end of the day, all these great technology tools we have at our hands.
I love it. I love it. I want to talk about Florida now. It seems like Florida is truly at the heart of the retiree world.
Yes, it is.
Arizona, we've got that too, but definitely Florida. And it's a market that's increasingly sophisticated, it's discerning and digital first. So, as
Yes.
a new wave of tech savvy retirees flock
Yes.
to the Sunshine State, how is Bridge Senior Living leveraging technology to set a new standard of what it means to age with vitality?
Sure. I just think that when people come to Florida, their expectations are very high, and they definitely do have a digital mindset when they come here. Our goal is just to make sure that that technology integrates with their lifestyle. So, I don't look at what's on a calendar. When I have a resident come to me and be like, we found an app that there's a ghost kitchen going on Saturday, and there's 7 of us that want to go. Those are things that get me so excited that we have residents that are using technology in order to improve their lifestyle. So it's not just like the health and wellness of wearing the smartwatch and did we get our steps in and things like that. Like, how are you finding that connection with your community? And to me, like I said, it blows my mind. And then also the virtual learning too is a big part of it too. Um, I love to learn. I love to teach people about things. But when retirees move to Florida, they think that we're all tourism and there's so many beautiful things to do. So for us to have platforms that we can get on and teach them about what's really going on in the state, I think is amazing.
And earlier, we talked about just regional differences. And
Yes.
when you're looking at the Southeast as a region, how does it differ in terms of your programming from the other regions?
So, big joke because like right now up north it's cold. So, when we sit there and someone will say, "Oh, today we were out in the courtyard today and we did a luau themed cocktail hour." And someone's like, "It's so cold here. Like we're doing winter wonderland and we're all bundled up into scarves." So, I think it really has to do a lot with not only the temperature but the culture as to where you are in the building because, for those of us that have lived up north, you do have that time frame in the winter where you kind of are locked in. And so, our goal with using technology is just to sit there and go, okay, where can we virtually travel to today? Or, we're starting a new program where communities are talking to each other communities, like almost like a virtual book club type of thing, but we're learning about their regions, which has been so phenomenal. I loved seeing our community in Texas actually eating New England food and vice versa. It was so much fun that day that we did that exchange with the food, where the culinary director was making different menus and where they're like, how do you eat this? And this is so, and so again, we really do go by region a lot as to look at what that looks like in the entire state. Because if you look at where people are coming from, because when people move to Florida, Abby, you will find that certain areas attract certain people from certain states. So those are things that we have to tap into also when we get to know our residents.
And when they are moving in and they're moving to Florida, how technologically savvy are they?
I would probably say that most people can use their smartphone. They've got maybe a couple apps downloaded on their phones. They know how to take a picture. They know how to do a video. But we're the ones that are teaching them with these Tech Tuesday classes how to explore different things and how to download the app and, how to sit there and look for something. We had, somebody the other day that didn't know what Poshmark was. And she was like, how do I get on this in order to buy some clothes? So we're teaching her how to do online shopping through that venue, which I thought was great.
That's neat. I love to hear that. Let's talk about some metrics. So in life enrichment,
Hmm.
the ROI is often in a smile, or
Yes.
it's a renewed sense of purpose,
Hmm.
like learning how to do some online shopping or selling. How do you measure the qualitative success of technology beyond just the numbers on a dashboard?
So, obviously that success is felt first, right? So you've been in a lot of communities too. We walk in and you've got this feeling that's already as soon as you walk through the door, you can feel it, right? So it's a big thing. So often I feel like success is felt before it's actually measured as an ROI. We look at participation levels, which you talked about. We look about energy too. Like at breakfast, is everyone talking about what they're going to do for the day? Are they going to go to this class? Are they going to go to this session? What's the mood? Did this tech program create new friendships of people who were possibly, my favorite thing is we had two ladies who were travel agents, and they kept showing up to all this virtual travel that we were doing, and they both found out that they were travel agents and just hooking up with their past. So new friendships, and people that you wouldn't think would be friends end up being friends because they find it. And then just residents initiating their own engagement with social media. So I think when technology helps you feel seen or inspired, that's not an ROI that you can quantify. It's just something that you witness.
Yeah, 100%. So, two things here. The first thing is that you mentioned the energy you feel when you go into a community. Now, many communities, they have our tech concierge set up at their tech desk right in the lobby, so that when families come in and people are walking by, they see that this is an amenity that's being offered, and it really does
Right.
drive a lot of energy right there in a common place. But for
Sure.
us, like, we see that success with the type of work that we're doing is measured by the residents' confidence level.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's like we're building self-esteem, and it's a market differentiator that the families notice immediately when they're within the community and they're talking to their parent.
Absolutely, and I agree with you on that. And just even something as simple as we all take a ton of photos, and having that little search bar in our photos. I showed a resident the other day in Atlanta. She was trying to show me a picture of her dog, and she's scrolling, and I said, "Can I show you something?" And I'm like, "So if you just type in dog or animal, all your pictures are going to come up." And she's like, "Are you kidding me?" And so it was just the cutest interaction because she got so excited. I walked away and I heard her say to our concierge, "Do you know how to do this too? Because I can show you now." And I was
I
like, this
love
is
it.
what this is all about at the end of the day.
So good. So good. Looking at where we are right now and things are just moving so fast, what's one innovation that you're keeping your eye on for 2026 that you think would be a total game changer for resident life?
I think that anything that can sit there and take in the data as to like what you like to do at the end of the day, like our behavior, our personal experience, our moods, our interests, anything that cognitive, anything that can make things more personable. So it's not just we have this on a schedule and we just think everyone's going to come to it. But if we could have technology that continues to pull out these likes and dislikes, we can set up a lot of these more personal sessions for people and do more one-on-one engagement based off of not what the group wants to do, but what you want to do as an individual. So, I'm excited, and I know that that's coming down the road.
Thank you so much, Melissa. This conversation has been really enjoyable. Thank you for sharing your heart and your brilliance with us today. It is just a beautiful reminder that when we lead with enthusiasm, technology becomes a tool for pure joy. I want to thank Melissa. How can people get in touch with you for more information?
So my email address is melissa.bossert@bridgeid.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. So if you message me on LinkedIn, I'd be more than happy to talk to you and continue the conversation.
Wonderful. And for those of you who are joining us, whether live or recorded, we thank you so much for your participation. You rock our world. Thank you so much. If you have any suggestions for guests or topics, go ahead and connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you to Leading Age Arizona for sponsoring our episode. And we will see you all back here next week. Goodbye.
Bye.